All right, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, you were able to watch those two videos that I had hyperlinked here about standard deviation explained and visualized and how to calculate standard deviation. And the main theme and concept of standard deviation is to find your mean or your average and then measuring the variance from that data point in the middle. Okay, so what I want us to start with first of all is in the second video on how to calculate standard deviation. You were given a standard deviation formula, and you were also given some different Greek letters that I would like for you to write down. So either if you printed this sheet out here, or if you are writing this in your notebook, please write out the following Greek letters that I give you and the definitions of what they are, because when I show you how to use the calculator, you're going to need to understand what these Greek letters mean. And of course, like everything that I show you in Math 1, this will be with you for the rest of your math career. Okay, so let's start with this symbol here, which is lowercase sigma. Okay, this is lowercase sigma. And lowercase sigma is the Greek letter we use to indicate standard deviation. Okay, this is the Greek letter sigma. Now, the next Greek letter you see looks something like this, and this is going to be uppercase sigma. And you will see uppercase sigma a lot when you get into Math 3 and Calculus. So it's a good thing to learn it now, and you'll also see it next year during your statistics and probability unit. So uppercase sigma means the sum of all values. All right, then you had the variable x, which is simply the data point. Then you had bar x or x bar, which means the mean. And one thing you need to understand is when you're doing statistics, especially standard deviation, we're no longer going to use the word average. You just have to know and understand that the term now is mean. And when you see the bar x or the x bar, that means mean. Okay? And then there was the variable n, which is the number of data points. Okay? And this is the number of data points in your data set. Okay? So when you write the standard deviation formula, okay, here's how we write and read this. We say the standard deviation is equal to the square root of the sum of all values of each data point minus the mean squared divided by the number of data points in the data set. All right, so that's how you would read this formula for standard deviation. Is standard deviation equals the square root of the sum of all the data points minus the mean squared divided by the number of data points. Okay, so if we go back to your sheets for today, okay, we're basically going to use this graphic organizer to complete that standard deviation formula that we just wrote. Okay, so if you look here, you're given a data set of 10 numbers. So the first thing that you need to do is find the mean. So please pause the video. I know I'm going to write these things down as we go along, but please don't just copy my work. Find the mean yourself and then resume the video once you find the mean. Okay, so welcome back. So that means if you did this, you would have found out that your mean is 59.5. Okay, so that is the mean of this data set. Okay, now step number 2 is to subtract the mean from each number in the data set. So as you continue to fill in the graphic organizer, you would write this 59.5 in each one of these squares, okay? All right, so now step number 3 says to square the results. So if you look at that first column, you've got 24 minus 59.5. So you type on your calculator 24 minus 59.5, and that gives you a negative number of a negative 35.5. Now notice there that you've got a little 2 there, meaning you're going to square that result. Okay, so when you do this, and there again, depending on which calculator you use, if you're using the TI-84, remember you're going to have to use parentheses. So you would use the parenthesis, and then the number was a negative 35.5, okay? And then you could use the X squared key over there and press enter, and it gives you 1260.25, okay? So go ahead and write that number over here, which would be the 1260.25, okay? So then you would do the 28 minus 59.5. That's going to equal a negative 31.5. And then same thing, you would go to your calculator, and if you're using the TI-84, you would type in the negative 31.5. Remember to put that in parentheses, because if we don't put it in parentheses, the calculator is not going to do the answer correctly. All right, so you come up with 992.25. Okay, same thing, 33 minus 59.5. That gives you an answer of a negative 26.9. So you need to put that in parentheses, because if you don't, the calculator will square it, but then it's going to apply a negative and give you a negative number. So 700 and, that's supposed to be negative 26.1, my mistake. I think I typed a number in wrong there. It should be a negative 26.5, not a negative 26.9. So let me see what I typed in wrong here. All right, there you go, negative 26.5. Then you would square that. And you get 702.25. So if you would like to, I'm going to continue to fill these in. You are more than welcome to pause the video and complete it yourself. I would encourage you to do it that way, and then you can check your work with my work, okay? Or you can continue to watch me fill in the numbers. Your choice. All right then. So if you check your work with mine, okay, hopefully your answers match the ones that I have over there in that final column. So now that was step number 3. So step 2, we subtracted the mean from each number in the data set. Then step 3 was to square the results. Now step number 4 is to add them all together. So go ahead and add them all together. And you would come up with that answer there. Okay, so far what we have now is the first part of that standard deviation formula complete, which is the sum of all of your data points, subtracting the mean from those data points, and then squaring them. So that 60685 is this first part of that standard deviation formula. Okay, now you need to take that number, divide it by 10, which is the number in your data set. All right, so when you do that, you get 606.85. So you come back to your sheet here, and now we're looking for the square root of 606.85. Okay, so what we've done so far then is we've done this top part of your standard deviation formula inside the radical. Now we've divided by the n value. So now all we need to do is to take the square root and see what the answer is. So the square root of 606.85 is 24.63. We'll just go ahead and round it to the 100th place. Okay. All right. So what that basically means is that the mean of your data set is 59.5. Then from the mean, the majority of your data is going to lie within plus 24.63 from your mean and minus 24.63 from the mean. So that's the meaning of this standard deviation, is it tells you where most of your data, the middle part of your data, that 68%, is going to lie. Okay? So what I would like for you to do now is on the second sheet is, if you go back to the standard deviation lesson, you look down here at the slide, and it says that a college zoology professor is looking at his midterm grades and wants to know the mean, median, range, and standard deviation for the majority of his scores. So using the following data set, answer the professor's questions. Okay? So on your sheet of paper, what I want you to do is find the mean, the median, and the range. Okay? Then find the standard deviation. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is take all of these numbers here, the 69, 70, 80, 39, etc. And then once you find your mean, you're going to subtract the mean from all of those numbers, just like we just did, square the mean, add those results together, and then divide those results by 10, and then find the square root of that number, and that number is going to be your standard deviation. Okay? So go ahead and do that, and then upload a copy of your completed work to Canvas. And that is all for today. And when you come back tomorrow, we will look at how you can do this same process using your TI-84 calculator. All right. So if you're with me now during the 8:15 to 9:15 hour, I'm up on Google Meet and we can talk. If you need to talk to me at a different time, obviously, please send me an email and we'll see what we can work out. So have a great day, everybody, and thank you, as always, for your perseverance during these times in which we are living in. All right, have a great day.